What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also am the co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we are broadcasting live on December 16th. It is the last broadcast of the year for, what is it? You know what? It's called Primetime Saturdays. Primetime Saturday, not Saturday, Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. So this is the last one of the year. We're really excited about it. And we got a myriad of comments and people have jumped in already like cray. This is beautiful. So before we get started with a bunch of things, first of all, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. And also subscribe and hit the notification button. Also want to say, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We also have, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I host, please email me at dr@thedrvibeshow.com. And finally, we want you, if you can, to join the Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa Discord group. And please email me again, dr@thedrvibeshow.com, and we'll get you in there. So before we go any further, we have a special video to show this evening. And what I'm going to do is make sure that it shows us properly. So we're going to do this. And we got a special video for you to see. Here we go.
As we enter into the holiday season, I would like to take this time to address something near and dear to my heart. As an international real estate agent since 2006, I've dedicated my career to guiding others through one of most life's significant journeys, homeownership. I've seen firsthand how informed decisions can transform lives, turning dreams into realities. But today, I want to address a deeply personal matter, one that has altered my life and the lives of countless others. Two beautiful souls, my beloved sisters, Azure and Valerie, were taken tragically from us by a drunk driver in January 2023. Their absence is a void that words cannot fill, a reminder of how fleeting and precious life is. Their laughter, their dreams, and their love for life were extinguished in a moment of reckless irresponsibility. I implore you from the depths of my heart, which is still mending, never to get behind the wheel while impaired. Driving under the influence is not just a poor decision, it's a lethal gamble with your life and lives of others. Each time someone chooses to drive drunk, they risk becoming the cause of an irreversible tragedy, much like the ones that took my sisters. In my profession, I emphasize the power of education and informed decisions. The same principles apply here. Understand the risks, recognize the consequences, and know that no destination or convenience is worth the price of a human life. There are always alternatives. Call a taxi, use a rideshare service, or stay where you are. It's a small choice that you can make to save lives, including your own. There are just too many options to make an excuse for drunk driving. Uber, Lyft, cab, friend driving you home. Just put the keys down. It's not worth it. Like buying or selling a home, life's journey is emotional and rewarding, but unlike a property transaction, some choices have no second chances. Please choose life, choose responsibility, and remember that every decision behind the wheel affects not just you, but families, communities, and future generations. With a plea for safety and a heart full of hope, I wish you happy holidays. May your home be filled with joy, love, and peace. I'm Laura Key, the Realty Goddess. Be the light.
All right. Well, let's bring up the Realty Goddess and Aisha K. Staggers. Hello, ladies. How are we?
Howdy,
That was
howdy.
beautiful.
Thank you, LaLa, for doing that. Appreciate that. Big time.
Yes. Please be careful this holiday season because I know myself, I do not like to drive after a certain time on the holidays because of the drunk driving that people do. And we're in a we're having issues in our state now where people are doing what are called street takeovers, where they're drinking,
Yes.
they're high. And I mean, police, state troopers, other town police have had to come to different locations to disassemble these massive crowds of people who are taking over streets with speed and reckless driving. So it's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I, I always I don't think people also talk enough about how you, as maybe a host or a friend or a bystander, need to actually step in as well. People tend to step back and go, oh, I hope they make it home okay. No, I'm going to need you to take the keys. I'm going to need you to be active. I'm going to need you to stand in front of someone, call a cab for someone, let them sleep on your couch, let them sleep somewhere, buy them a hotel room. I don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but it's so much worth it to have them safe and not on the road. So I need you to be proactive as seeing someone in that state.
Yeah, because when people are gone, they can't come back. When you're gone, you can't come back.
Yep.
Yeah, I think very important at this time of year. And unfortunately, we'll probably know someone that loses somebody or does something like that and it doesn't work out. And that's so unfortunate. So unfortunate. So, LaLa, thank you again for that message. And thank you for continuing on and being a crusader in this area. So really appreciate it. Well, a few things, family, that we got to make you aware of. Make sure you check out the Patreon store for Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. And LaLa, any more updates from the store? In the store, or of the store?
Patreon's not the store.
Okay, Patreon, just
Okay.
Patreon.
Well, our Patreon is doing well. We've got some membership, and
What?
we've got lots of things going on back there. There's some polls. There's some exclusive content with our Primetime Saturday 10 and 10 with Aisha.
And it's hot too.
We have
10 and 10 is hot.
conversations. Yes, we put the 10-minute version on the Discord, but the hour-long plus version, the expanded editions, are on Patreon. It's a $7 a month membership. You get that. We've got other things coming up in 2024. We're going to have some book giveaways, some author chats, because the ban book thing is very close to my heart, where they're banning books by people of color. So definitely talking with people of color about their books and having giveaways for our Patreon subscribers. We're going to start doing some blogs. And of course, with the 10 and 10, what we started doing with this past one is providing you with all the links to the sources of information that we get our stories from, so that you can go and check them out yourself and have your own information at your fingertips and know where to go for the truthful information, the good information, the facts. So we've got a lot of things coming up for the Patreon in 2024. And so far, we've already done a lot in just the last couple, we've had 3 weeks now. So
it's a lot of stuff in here for the past 3 weeks.
Well, let's be honest. Aisha's done a lot in the last 3 weeks.
Yes, she has.
Let's be honest.
I've got time, right? I've got time. So this is what we're doing. We've got quite a few things coming. So I'm excited about it.
Want to shout out to everyone that's watching on Fly Nubian Queen YouTube channel. Hey, what is up? Thank you so much for tuning in, taking some of your time to check us out. Also, now let's get to the Primetime store.
Yes, we have a holiday pop-up shop where we've got LaLa did an excellent on our 10 and 10 this week. LaLa did an excellent rundown of what we have. And so I made that clip into a small promo that you can see on our Instagram channels, mine, Dr. Vibes, LaLa's. We've got LaLa, run the list down because you did such a good job.
Oh man, we've got pajamas, we've got wine glasses, we've got t-shirts, we've got a special edition notebook because guys, you really do we talk about so much and I know that it swirls in your head, but what better way to have our notebook to write down and so you can go back and look at the notes and review and make decisions for yourself. So that is a special edition. But we have my favorite, I can't wait to get them, is the pajama bottoms because then you can kind of hang back with us with the wine glass and some pajama bottoms.
I know I ordered leggings already too because I love leggings. So I ordered those already. But what I have on today is the Primetime Saturday t-shirt, women's t-shirt. Let me just tell you that the women's t-shirt, the fitted one, it does run a bit small, especially if you have these. Okay, so understand it was made for women with a size A cup, not for women with anything larger. So you might want to order a larger size. This is a bit snug in that area, but it fits everywhere else. And the quality is excellent. It's comfortable. So I'm just excited about all of those things. That shop will close on January 31st. And in February, our permanent store will open. I'm working on a bunch of different and new things for that store, including handbags and socks and all kinds of handbags and all kinds of things. So every week I'm going to try to add something else different. No, it's not a V-neck, Regina. It's just the way it's sitting with my hair. But if you would like a V-neck, I will add a V-neck to the pop-up shop this week. I can do that. And so, yeah, so it's exciting. I'm going to write that down right now. V-neck. So, Regina, you will get your V-neck on the pop-up shop this week. I will probably put it up by Tuesday. So,
wow.
And I'll do a couple different designs. So, yeah.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of comments going on. So Jen Myers, hello, Jen Myers, as always. Fitness IQ.
Thank you for joining Patreon, Jen.
Yes, and otherwise known as KSF EYL RWFQ, and she celebrated a birthday this past Tuesday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Oh, happy birthday!
And also, she says, "My condolences to you, LaLa." And also, Regina.
I have a bit of a cold.
No problem. Regina says, "Good evening, all. Thank you, LaLa, for pushing back. Hugs. Fantastic." And let's see if we got anything else. Regina says, "Is that a V-neck?" Oh, Jen says, "Handbags."
Yes.
She's got the big handbag.
Okay. And Jen Meyer says, "Love the V-necks." And also Regina says, "Thank you." So there you go. We got lots of things going on.
I was actually thinking about handbags already. And then Jen sent me a message today and said, "Hey, did you ever think of handbags?" I'm like, great minds think alike. And so I'm like, definitely doing this for February.
Okay, well, fantastic. And everyone's watching. And I want to say, I know LaLa's sharing this on her Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on two of her Facebook channels. So she's sharing this out, which is wonderful. And yeah, more people are coming in. For those who haven't been here before, Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. And they try to make sense and nonsense of what's going on in America. Just by the way, I'm based in Canada, so I'm the outsider here. I'm just the outsider here. Don't shoot me, I'm the piano player. That's who I am today. So today.
Hey, did you know that on Instagram in 2024, you'll be able to stream live? So
yes.
I will be streaming this live.
No,
it's a new feature.
Well, it's interesting. I am trying to do that right now with the program. So it didn't work on my first attempt. So this is why if you see me like fiddling around, I'm trying to make that happen because they just on the StreamYard platform and they just launched that like a day or so ago. It's not a simple process, but I'm fighting to see if I can make it happen during the conversation this evening. So that's what I'm working on here.
Started jumping on board. I'm so glad they did because Instagram was so behind the times with that.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to
So,
being able to do that in 2024 once I figure it out.
well, it's somewhat an easy process, like a two step process. I'm trying to fool around with it right now, so I'm speaking that will make it happen. So
Yeah.
we are, well, it's the end of the year, and this is going to be our last live show of this year. So the next 2 Saturdays, we're going to be doing replays, and just program alert, starting January 6th, 2024, Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa will be on at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. Same day, but 2 hours earlier. So just an FYI on that. So we get into this. We're going to
We're
look
getting old. That's why we need to do this early. We're cutting into the bedtime of the nearly 50 plus. Nearly.
Yeah.
I say nearly because I'm nearly there.
Well,
Oh,
I
my.
am there. I am 53 and I need naps.
So Jen says, yes, I love the big bag too. Fitness IQ Cam says, I was going to send you the photo, doctor. I saw you could stream to Aisha. Yes, I'm working on that right now. The platform I usually use, or the browser I usually use, it doesn't come up. So I'm trying something else while the conversation is going. Good. All right. So the ladies are going to chat about some of the things that happened this year. Not all. The things that we're going to leave out will probably be going on Patreon, from what I understand. They're telling me what's going on, but some of the things that we're not going to be chatting about tonight that happened this year, multiple wars, especially ones that America are involved in, lots of them going on. Climate change, floods. Does anyone remember the hurricane or the flooding and the weather damage that happened in Hawaii earlier on this year?
Yep.
Yes.
In the hottest summer of the year.
Yes.
No one remembers that. The U.S. government admits that they're UFOs. Oh, really? And then the Titan disaster. Oh my! It seems like this happened so long ago.
I know this year just flew by.
That was just this summer, right?
Spy balloons, the Chinese balloons.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene dressing like a spy balloon.
Okay. The writer and actor strikes.
Yes.
And then bank failings. All this happened this past year in the United States, and also trying to keep up with inflation. Ladies, are there anything you want to talk about briefly about any of those stories?
No, I think we're going to actually dive into the strikes. But other than that, I think we pretty much will cover a lot of the important stories, especially the ones that you need to know going into 2024.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
like my mother says, to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
That's so true.
So you're going to get what you need to know from us.
Oh, this is the place. So let's talk about the first category the ladies want to chat about in regards to this past year. Racism never goes away. And some of the stories involving racism in the United States, some of them, the attack on young Black politicians, Tennessee, Mr. Pearson, Mr. Jones. Comments on that, ladies?
You know, they are just not giving up on attacking them. We're not hearing a lot of the news that still is going on. If you're not following them on their social media, you pretty much don't hear what's going on. But every day they go into work for their people, their constituents. They are being attacked over the silliest of things. And by people who are very clearly corrupt as well and have a lot of skeletons in their closet. But because they don't like these young, bright, Black politicians, they are throwing everything at them, from your hair to how you speak to how you dress, as a threat to them, and trying to make a justification based on those things, how they are not serving their constituents when their constituents put them in not once but twice. So you have to be aware of this stuff that's always going on constantly. And these young brothers fight back every day. I do suggest that you follow them, because you will get an eye-opening experience on just how much hate is going on in our world, and especially in politics.
Yes. And the only thing I want to add is that the attempts to get rid of them again are
Yes.
nonstop. But understand where those attempts are coming from. Those attempts are coming from people who do not want to do anything, and not only not wanting to do anything. Let's remember where all this stemmed from. This stemmed from a mass shooting at a school.
Mhm.
The Republican politicians in Tennessee do not, because I stayed in Tennessee a while when I went to graduate school at Fisk University in Nashville, where Justin is also one of the Justins is also an alum. But they don't want to do anything on the gun issue because Tennessee is one of those states where
Mhm.
people love their guns. And
Mhm.
so afraid of voting people out. But this also gives you another insight into how racism works. They would rather hate than to protect their own kids. When the hate is bigger than the care they have for their own kids or for their own children, not even that, when the hate for these two Black men is greater than the white children, their care about the white children of Nashville who lost their lives, that tells you something.
It
And
does.
that is scary because this is the moment that we're in right now.
Can I
Mhm.
just make an interruption?
Yeah.
9/21, December 16th, 2023. We are broadcasting live on Instagram.
I see.
We are broadcasting live on Instagram. So we are ending the year off keep on going up. So sorry to interrupt. Continue. I just wanted to celebrate that moment.
But no, that's what I had to say about that. It is a sad thing where they don't even care about children that look like them because
No.
they're so blinded
Their
by their
hate is stronger.
men.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Their hate is stronger. And they're willing to risk everything for it.
And that's the truth about all of this, really, when you sit and think about it. When you look at Fox News, you realize that their hate for the Black, the brown, the Muslims, the Jewish, all the LGBTQ people is so much greater than their care for the very people
Mhm.
that watch their channel, because all these
Right.
groups are not asking for anything that the people that watch Fox News would not get.
Mhm.
When we ask for something for our
Absolutely.
community, it benefits everyone. When
Mhm.
LGBTQ people ask for something for their community, it benefits everyone. When women ask for the decisions to be left to us for our bodies, it benefits everyone. Because the thing is, with politics and with public policy, if you give an inch, they will take a daggone mile.
Yes, they will.
Hmm.
And then try to take their ball and go home with it too.
And then tell you that it was your fault. And tell you it
Mhm.
was your fault that they had to do that to you.
That's right.
So
Okay.
yeah, the racism
Gaslighting at the finest.
is
Oh.
bad. And not forget, the racism is not just permeating the politics up top. It's getting down to the politics in these local elections too. So this is where you
Yes.
have those moms of liberty. Moms of liberty,
Right
they
there.
are nothing but the white citizens councils from the 60s revamped. Who are they? They're the daughters and sons of the people who were standing outside of Little Rock Central High School
is
screaming
fine.
at Elizabeth Eckford when she was trying to get in the school. Their children are now running Moms for Liberty. And so it's trickling into all of the local races. You got them in the sheriff's race. There's the gentleman in Mississippi who won the mayoral election, that the town people won't allow him to be mayor, to have access to the mayor's office. They locked him out the mayor's office.
Yes.
So racism is permeating our politics. It was always part of our politics, but now it's permeating itself in ways to where individuals were exercising their racism. We had moved from having policies. Now they're trying to put all those policies back into place. They started with affirmative action, and now they're going to put it back into place. We're going to talk later about the abortion issue, but understand the abortion issue is even
It's a
rooted in
part of the
racism.
agenda.
It is rooted in racism because they believe that there's a whole bunch of Black and brown women who are, using abortion as, a second form of birth control.
Yes.
And then this thing happens in Texas with this young 31-year-old white woman who already has kids, wants to have one, is married, and it shocked the hell out of them, and they don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do with that.
So racism is permeating every aspect of our social lives. It always has, but now they've got their leader in Donald Trump, and they're ready to go.
I literally today saw a picture of a lady who had a choker on with a rhinestone saying that said Trump girl. I just about ready. I thought I was going to lose my mind. She's literally walking around with a choker that says Trump girl. These people still following this idiot.
Was she
Trump tattoos and all that stuff.
Was she melanated or non-melanated?
No, she was non-melanated.
Okay.
But let's not get it twisted. There are some melanated people who have fallen for the cookie as well.
Yeah, and it's sad because people are using racism to even do that. So what they're doing, you want to talk about these people, and people are always saying, oh, there's 20% of Black men who are not going to vote for Democrats, blah, 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 blah. They're turning Republican. Why? I've heard some of these men talk. I've looked at their comments on social media. I've listened to Black Talk Radio where they talk, and every last one of them talks about the jobs are going to the immigrants, the migrants.
Yes.
And it's like, wait a second, but do you want to be picking fruit out in Florida for 16 hours a day? And then they're like, no. Well, then what are you complaining about? Because those are the jobs that they're coming to get. They're not coming to take your job at the auto dealership.
Here's what's interesting about that. I read an article today that just also blew my mind. I mean, like, just the stupidity comes out of the woodwork. This is a gentleman who lives in Florida. He has multiple children. He is screaming and hollering at the top of his lungs how immigrants are taking the jobs and they have no right to be here. Yet he has 3 children by 3 immigrant women. Now, what does that say? You've got kids that you are talking about. You want to talk out of this side of your mouth, but you're doing something different. This man is a father of 3 children who were produced with an immigrant woman, but yet he's still out here hollering and taunting, his spew and his garbage. These people are just, I mean, it's just unrelentless how they say one thing and live a totally different life.
Yeah. And then beyond that, the sad part is that the Republicans have figured out if we take the word racist, like we did with the word woke, and we flip it on them, it loses its power and it loses its meaning over us. Because every time you turn around, Donald Trump is very good at this. He does it most especially with Black women, but he's good at calling people racist because they're going after him for very legitimate things that have absolutely nothing to do with race. It is beyond bizarre to me that someone who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, got a $400 million loan from his daddy, was redlining folks, called for the execution of Black men who were exonerated and still is, has the nerve to say, oh, people are being racist against me. When did racism ever prevent you from creating your own airline? When did racism prevent you from having a false university? When did racism prevent you from having Trump water, Trump steaks, hotels, casinos? When did racism do that? Please tell me. And then the people on the bottom are listening to him. Yeah. Racism, it's racism because people are more prejudiced against white people. Why? Is it because more people are getting access to things that you feel that way? Oh, well, no, this Black woman took my job. Wait a second. How did you know that job was yours?
That's right.
Did you apply for it? No, but it was okay. Let's end the conversation there. Did they tell you you didn't get the job because they gave it to a Black woman? And what makes you think that this Black woman was not 10 times qualified for you? qualified than
Right.
you. Because we know this as Black women, that you have to be 5 times more qualified than Black men, 10 times more qualified than white men. Okay. And 3 times more qualified than white women. So
Yes.
tell me where all this racism against mediocre white men is coming from.
Right.
And let's be clear.
And
That
the
is,
audacity,
word
just
is
the
mediocre.
audacity that it's your job, you know,
Right.
that's mine.
Right. The key word here is mediocre. I noticed that all the people who complain about racism against white people on the Trump side are people who are very mediocre. You know how you can tell? Because mediocre people walk around with these hats that say "Make America Great Again" and these tassels and all these things hanging off. I mean, they look like they walked out of a Walmart that exploded.
Rhinestone Trump girl chokers.
That is mediocrity. I mean, it's funny because I was looking at a video of Ron DeSantis earlier, and I was saying, it's pretty hard to hide mediocrity. It is hard. It's getting harder and harder to hide it. The problem is, and here's where it's coming from. The problem is that it is harder to hide mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be mediocre anymore and just skate by. People want more of you. And when you are used to being able to skate by doing the bare minimum, when people expect you to rise to the occasion and compete with other people who are competing up here when you're down here, and you look at the people who are competing up here and none of them look like you, it feels like racism.
That's right.
Okay, well, just some other stories in regards to the category of racism.
Regina, please don't get me started on the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne the God, aka Kermit the Frog from South Carolina.
Ouch. Okay, hold on. So, how the right has weaponized
Charlamagne does not like Black women.
Okay, how the right has weaponized the word racist against people of color, especially Black women. Comments on that in 2023.
Well, like I said, I just went down that path, but like I said,
yes,
it is becoming the catch-all.
Yeah, be all
for people who don't want to admit that the failure lies with them. It's a scapegoat. It's easy. It's full of privilege, entitlement, bigotry, and again, the M word, mediocrity. If you want that job that you think the Black woman is taking from you, apply. And what kills me is that there are people, for example, the president of Harvard, there are people criticizing her qualifications who never even went to college.
Yes.
Where do you get off?
YouTube University. That's what they do. They get on YouTube University, think they know everything.
Let me tell you something. I've got a few college degrees. I was a professor too. I would never say that I was as qualified as she was to be president of Harvard because she's really qualified. And I saw someone earlier, yesterday, saying, "Oh, well, she plagiarized this and that." I'm like, Harvard? Really?
Yeah.
Harvard already had a plagiarism scandal about 15 years ago. So they
don't want to go down that road again.
No, they've been extremely careful. Not only that, but in the last 5-7 years, there are a multitude of plagiarism checking websites that you can copy, paste, and see if somebody plagiarized. It'll tell you where that source is, when the source is, the whole thing. So to say that this was plagiarism, it was ridiculous. Young white woman, I did call her on it and I did say, hey, you do realize that what you're saying is libelous. And she's like, no, it's my opinion. No, you're stating it as fact, which means it's libel.
That's right.
Do you want the Rudy Giuliani treatment? Because I know you can't afford it. And I'm sure that they don't do those kind of background checks at the Walmart you work at. But they check. I promise you, they checked her credit. They got in touch with not just people who worked with her, personal references. I have sat at college committee interviews And the stuff that they do, if you are going to be in a level of administration,
I don't think that they'll drive by their house too. That's no joke. People think that that's funny. No, they say that in jest, but no, they don't, honey. They done stalk your neighbors. They done been around your house. They go to the coffee shop that you go to. They look at your library record to see what you've been checking out. So, as a Black woman, you have to be 4 times better.
And they're going to check on you even harder.
And then you still don't get a break.
Right. And they're going to do even a deeper check on you. Understand that. They're not going to do the cursory, one that they would do for Chad McGovern. They're going to do the Black person's check on you. That's right. So that's right. Understand, it was no easy task for her to get that job. So, racism is a huge issue in this country. It's a huge issue all over the world. But in this country, we have our own brand of racism. And our country does not want to let go of it.
No.
And this is why Republicans will continue to lose elections.
And my best friend's meme. Say it again.
Oh my goodness. All right. So you know what we're going to do? And family, if you're watching live or on the replay, this is only the first out of 5 conversation topics or 4 or 5 categories. So what we're going to do now is, I think respectfully, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll see if we're able to finish all the rest of the categories. You are watching Primetime Saturday. I keep on putting the days. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa on many different platforms. Fly Nubian Queen, LaLa, living the LaLa life on 2 different Facebook platforms. It's on my X, it's on my Twitch, it's on my YouTube, it's on my Facebook, and for the first time, it's on the Dr. Vibe Show on Instagram. So there are billions and billions, as what used to say Carl Sagan used to say, different places where you can catch this conversation live. But we are going to show a quick little 90-second promo to a gentleman who and his dear wife that have uplifted our platform. So here we go, and we'll see you in 90 seconds.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people.
Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back, helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. Shout out to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins for their continuous and ongoing support. And we're looking forward to help them grow their platform in 2024. So you're watching Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa. I got it right that time. And the scroll at the bottom was saying Saturday. So I corrected that during the 90 seconds. I have to get used to it all. So we got more people here in the, oh my goodness. Aisha's going in on Charlemagne the God. I'm not going to do that can be kept on YouTube. So
join YouTube. Join the YouTube to read the comments.
Yes. She is brilliant. So, Regina, who are you referring to?
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett. All right. Who's Jasmine Crockett?
Jasmine Crockett is a congresswoman from Texas.
Okay.
She's very vocal in, you know, I think I shared one of her posts with us before, but Regina said that the commenters on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God, and who's the other guy? I forgot him.
But
DJ
if you have to
Envy,
take that hard, that
DJ
tells
Envy,
you.
DJ Envy. Is
Yeah,
that his
DJ.
name?
Yep, saying that they were
Okay.
attacking her and that she was a sellout for Biden. Blah 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 blah. Charlemagne thinks everybody's a sellout. Period. Who's not him? But the projection from him, like I said, is amazing. I bet you anything that Jasmine curbed one or both of them. This is Charlemagne's pattern. It happened when he was in South Carolina. This is not new. So I pretty much everything he says goes in one ear and out the other. But I've seen how he's handled Black women who are very vocal and stand in their truth, and I don't like it.
Okay.
And
Right.
so,
Right.
I made a funny comment, but the bottom line is that I have yet to see him hold any Black woman in regard on his show. Ever. Even the ones who are there who are celebrities, he's found a way to do these subtle hints and subtle disses on them. And so I said this and I stick by it. The right people thought that he was important enough to have an opinion. And so he just ran with it. And he himself now believes his own hype, that he's that important and his opinion matters. Jasmine Crockett will not be going to Charlemagne the God for advice on any public policy.
That's
Period.
right.
Okay. Let's stop because we've got a lot left to cover here. So
But it need to be said.
All right. Next comment or category from 2023, democracy in the law. And under that, we have different events such as 45's arrest and legal woes. But he's still a viable candidate for the president of the United States. The GOP's inability to govern, McCarthy, Santos, and elections and their outcomes this year. So a jambalaya there. Who wants to go in first?
Well, here's my thing. We're getting nothing done as a nation. We are definitely the laughing stock of the world. The world used to look at us and say, hey, America's doing some things right. We want to watch them. Now we are a huge point of shame for the world. Even the UN has turned their backs on us and gone outside of the norm of doing things and going around us because we're standing in their way, turning their backs on our representatives there. With me traveling so much, and especially when I'm overseas, people literally ask me, what is going on over there? And they're literally going, what is going on? Like they are just really interested in knowing how we are, how have we gotten to this point of burning? And they don't understand how we as the people are standing by and allowing it to happen. So it's very, we talk about it every week, but it's very interesting to know that we feel like we're in this trap. It's like we're looking into a ball that we can't get anything done. The GOP is imploding. Even some of the Democrats ain't been doing so hot lately. We do talk about that because I have to say we're very honest on this show. We don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're doing wrong, we're going to call you out. And there are some few that we have been called out as well. So nothing is being done. And the hypocrisy that is going on, people calling out Joe Biden, calling him old. Trump ain't that much younger. And then you have congressmen laughing because, Joe Biden tripped. And then what did he do? He did the same thing, fell down the steps. Who cares? Who is running the country is what I want to know. But I am proud in some facts that with the states pushing back against the laws that are taking women's reproductive rights away, and especially me being very proud of how Kentucky pulled it out. They got Daniel Cameron off the books, makes me very happy. But we are definitely in a hodgepodge of confusion, just like the song. We're in a ball of confusion because you have good things, very little it seems, but you have so much other confusion and hatred within their own parties and within their own ranks that we can't get anything done.
Yeah, one of the misfortunate part of being American means that you do not have to look at yourself in as a reflection of how other people see you. Is that we own our news, everything. We only focus on things here. We focus on things elsewhere if we're involved in them.
Right.
So people don't get to see how other people view us in other countries. They show our news, whether they're involved in it or not.
Pretty.
And that's why they're asking the questions of what is going on there, because this looks crazy and insane to the rest of the world. And let me tell you something about people who have had a psychotic break. I know this from my early days as a mental health therapist. It is very hard to get them to see reality as it really is when they're in that breaking period. We're in that breaking period where we have a lot of people who don't see the reality. And what do our politicians do? Well, they point here, look at that shiny object there, look at that object there, look at that object there, so that people aren't looking at how we look to other people.
Yes.
The fact that this week the Republicans in a bipartisan bill want to prevent the next president from pulling out of NATO should tell you that even they know none of this is right. Even they know what's coming down the pike could be a lot worse, because they're not going to tell you this because they want to be reelected. Because when they get reelected, it's $179,000 salary. It's healthcare benefits. If they stay long enough, it's a pension. They get benefits for their families. They get spending accounts. They get this, they get that. But meanwhile,
and lobby money,
instead of telling you what they're getting, they tell you, you know what? We got to cut welfare because your tax dollars are going to welfare. Your tax dollars are also going to pay the people, the 435 people who sat in a chamber this year and did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You multiply 176 by 435 and see what you get, and tell me if it doesn't make you mad that your tax dollars are going to that.
And you're still
and that doesn't even include the
it.
benefits. That doesn't even include the benefits. If you multiply that amount of the 176 times 435, and then you double it, maybe triple it, that's what you'll get in how much we're spending on our politicians who did nothing. And then tell me, oh, you're worried about the little 1.5 cents that may go to helping a family of 4 living on $30,000 a year? Really? That upsets you? That upsets you. Not your congressman who's riding around in a Mercedes on your dime.
Having parties, popping champagne.
Well,
shenanigans in the chamber.
So LaLa, so before we went live, LaLa dropped a little bit of a bomb on us. LaLa, you want to share what you heard?
I do. Y'all, this week, some of the hottest mess out of the Senate came out. There was an aide that released himself in a judiciary meeting area of the Senate having sex on the floor, where they question people, where they bring in the people and attack them, because right now that's all they do is attack whoever comes in to talk.
Where the party of family values meets.
Yes. Now, since then, and that not only did he film this, guys, he literally put it on a group that is for gays in politics. And at first they blanked out his face until they could figure out who he really was and just claim that was really him and not deep fake. And it was. Now, as of today, he has been let go, but he actually had sex in Congress on the floor. It was Ben Cardin's office that he was an aide for. He is a Democrat.
Okay, so this to me is the most ridiculous
Nasty.
thing. Guess what? It happens in both parties. There
Yes.
is shenanigans. They're treating Congress like a free-for-all. It's
It's nothing but a big party. What was Rick James' song, My Girl Like to Party on the Time?
And no one can ever say that we don't call out people of both parties.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
wrong.
my question is, so look at what the screen says, democracy and the law. Is that an oxymoron?
Yes.
Because,
In America?
Well, because our
Yes.
democracy is not, democracy and the law are supposed to go hand in hand, parallel. Democracy is going this way and the law is going this way. It's like there's no congruency here. They're not lining up. And the same people who are trying to end our democracy are busy trying to skirt the law. Look at what happens to Donald Trump. Rudy Giuliani, $148 million is what he owes. He's hiding assets. Not only that, but Alex Jones had the nerve yesterday to file paperwork asking the Sandy Hook families, will you take less? Will you take less money?
Meanwhile, as Elian puts him back.
He's back on Twitter. Not only that, but the reports are that he's living a lavish life, talking about he's a pauper.
Yes.
They're going to go after him, and they should go after him hard. Everyone. And what's so bad is that these are the people who sit there and talk about, oh, the world's coming to an end, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, they're grifting people.
Yes.
The world's coming to an end because of you.
Yes.
You're lying about things. You're making it goes back to that concept of reality. They are creating an alternate reality for people who are like gripping at the 1950s with, bare knuckle and don't want to let it go. And they're creating this comfort zone for them, this alternate reality where everything is the way it was, but not the way it was. Because a lot of those people, you can best believe a lot of those people didn't have the Leave It to Beaver, Donna Reed show life.
That's right.
They have Breaking Bad.
People like Trump, of course, who's making money off of his legal woes, his whatever he's doing. He is literally selling merch. He's selling T-shirts with his mugshot.
He's selling NFTs, a card where you can buy a piece of the suit. Now, I promise you, he did not cut that suit, because that suit, he's going to put that in his Trump Presidential Museum, but he got some fabric like it. And these people are going to spend look, they cannot buy Christmas gifts for their kids. They cannot pay the rent. They can't pay their car payment, but they're going to find a way to buy, what is it? 47, I think you have to buy. However much you have to buy of those things to get 4,700 in order to get a piece of a card with a piece of cloth that can't even be verified. Trump lies. Right. Look, Trump lies about the fact that he said he was a dictator. What makes you think he's not lying to you about the fact that he cut up his suit? Come on.
Right. But they believe everything. But see, this shows you the morality of them. They don't care as long as they have the money coming in and the attention coming in. Let's not play around, y'all. Y'all know the only reason he wants to be up in that presidential office again is only for him and him only. Him and his folk, maybe. I mean, because right now I'm not even thinking he's really loving where his daughter is right now. But, anything that will uplift his pockets and his power, that's all he wants. He doesn't care about you or anyone else, but he's always told us that from the very beginning. That's what's killing me more than anything. He's always told you who he is.
Right.
And yet he still has followers.
When you go to vote next year, there's one question you need to ask yourself. Who is going to put the power in my hands?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to interrupt there. Now, if a Black American can't come up with a credible answer for that answer, are you okay with them not voting?
No. Don't you dare not even think about going to them polls and voting. That's what they're counting on.
Yes.
They are counting on that for you. Have you noticed I don't know, but I'm always on social media, but I'm seeing more and more videos of people saying, well, I'm just not going to vote. That's what they want you to do because that's how they win.
Because remember, their voting population is much smaller than the voting population on the other side. So what they need to count on is that the people who are registered to vote on the other side do not show up. And so they're going to flood the ecospace with information to make you not vote. Black people, I want to say this to you. I listened to the Clay Kane show on Urban View on Sirius XM. I love his show. And Black people will constantly call up and say, well, what did this president and this person do for Black people? I got a stimulus check. You know why prices are high? Because we're paying back, the debt's high, we're paying back the money for that. And we don't have enough workers. But aside from that, every law that has been passed, that has been beneficial, does impact us. It's not like, oh, we're doing this law is passing, but guess what? You Black, brown, LGBTQ, you don't get it. You don't get it.
That's
so
right.
For example, not one person that I listen to on these shows thinks that the $35 that seniors are paying now for their insulin I have two parents who are diabetic. They're also senior age. It is a good thing, let me tell you.
Yes.
Because my mother was paying like $400-$600, every 2 weeks for insulin on a retired person's salary.
Yes.
Okay. So understand, we are more disproportionately represented in the population of people who have type 2 diabetes. So that directly benefits us. Your aunties, your grandmas, your uncles, they're living, okay? Because this is available now. So just...
I'm going to interrupt because we still got a lot of stuff to chat about.
So my thing is just think about what you're saying when you say these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So Michelle Hayward is on, says, hey, y'all. She says she's doing all fine. She says, we must vote. We as Black Americans still have laws we must protect. Who's in the house? Dr. Tachi, host of the livest online show about media, tech, and pop culture, Media Scope, on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Instagram, and then 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn, and other platforms. And also now my fellow contributor on stuff we do for Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins on their platforms. We are doing hosting Stees on something called ABCN Reprint, the all black, I can't remember. Sorry, Dr. Boyce, I have a brain cramp. And Aisha is gone. Okay, she needs to. So Aisha's going to be off screen for a moment because she has to reset her fire alarm. So when she comes back on, we'll bring it back on. So these things happen. So just want to shout out to other people who are in the room. And Dr. Tachi goes, that stupid stimulus check pittance.
But see that speaks a lot. We laugh about it, but honestly, that speaks volumes for our people not thinking the right way. They're putting the money and what they think they're getting, but not thinking about the back end of it, of the harm that it's going to do them later on. An $800 check is not going to help you down the road when your taxes and your benefits for your neighborhoods and your other resources go up where you can't afford them. So you see, your cost of living is staying here, your pay, but your cost of living continues to grow. The taxes grow, everything grows. When you really think about it, guys, we are taxed upon taxed upon taxed upon taxed. You're taxed for your job.
Canada are taxed more than you guys. Just know that.
I don't want to feel your tax if I'm feeling mine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bad.
All right. Aisha, you are on mute for some reason.
LaLa said about the taxes is right. those stimulus checks that you got, you didn't get them for free, because what
That's
they
right.
did was, you got 2 of them under Trump. What they did was increase your income, which meant your taxes went up, period. Whenever you make more income up to a certain point, your taxes go up. Most of us are already at a
All right.
30% income rate.
Okay.
So
Yes.
yeah,
All right. So
stimulus didn't do anything.
so Dr. Tatch make a point here that she says, but you also have socialized healthcare in Canada. To a certain extent, yes, that is true. So
But
The
it's
cost of
what
your
are our
drugs isn't
thoughts
as high.
for yeah, the drug costs are not as high, but they are increasing, but they're not as high as the US. So democracy in the law for 2024, what are your thoughts, predictions before we move on to our next conversation topic?
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
The summer, watch the summer. The summer is going to be the hot season.
That's
It's
the
going to be
hotbed.
it's going to be a
Mhm.
hot one. It's going to be a hot one
Okay.
because all the gloves will be off. They will be in full campaign mode, and I just hope that the Biden-Harris campaign can rise to the occasion and
Yeah.
start really taking on some of this messaging. And if they can't, they need to hand it over to the people who can. I think that Jamie Harrison probably either needs to fall back and let someone else do the job that isn't afraid to say the things that need to be said, or,
Okay.
go back to South Carolina and try and run against Lindsey Graham again. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. Next category, review of 2023 culture wars. They're not going away. So in the
How's that
area
war
of
on
culture
Christmas
wars,
going?
okay, states criminalizing women's reproductive rights, the multiple mass shootings, book banning and changing history to suit white needs, LGBTQ under attack. A lot there. What do you want to pick apart?
Well, like I said before, you have so many things going on that you don't know where to focus. You're being attacked on every single front. And I think people are tired, they're exhausted, but yet they're still out here fighting the good fight. Now it's upon the states to make their decision about women's reproductive rights, but they are now showing their behinds and showing them loud and proud. And with what they're doing to women who do need these critical procedures done, is showing and trying to be the strong arm of, if we said this is this and that, regardless of if you are in danger of losing your life or not. What's going on in Texas is being watched very closely. 31-year-old mother, Aisha talked about it earlier. She already has children, was expecting another baby, and her life is in danger. The fetus is not viable. So she actually took it to the Supreme Court, and her doctor told her very clearly, you could very well die from this if you don't get this done. So she tried to get it done in Texas and overthrow it. But in the meantime, they're taking so long by saying no and not even really paying attention and dragging her through the paperwork that she literally had to go to another state to have the procedure done. Now, she is being very vocal about it. I'm glad that she is, because people really need to hear this story. But just think, we're only hearing one of the thousands, and probably soon, I hate to say it, millions, because guys, sometimes the baby just doesn't make it. The fetus doesn't make it. So if it's not a viable fetus, what do you want this woman to do? To risk her life for something that's not viable? And then you have another case in Ohio where the lady miscarried, and she actually went to the hospital several times telling them something wasn't right. Something's not right. Please help me. She ends up aborting the baby naturally, nothing that she did, in the toilet. Yes. And so they came, and now they're charging her with murder.
Yeah. The thing about this issue that bothers me is that in Texas, all the people on that Supreme Court that made the decision can never, have never, and will never carry a baby, period. LaLa actually talked about this in our most recent 10 on 10. So go to the Patreon, sign up, subscribe, and get that conversation. But she and I both talked about this as women who have been pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think men grasp the full extent of what pregnancy is. It's not like you get a pimple in your belly and it just grows and the rest of you is not affected. Your organs literally shift in and upward to accommodate a growing fetus. You suffer, you have to worry about high blood pressure, you have to worry about gestational diabetes, you have to worry about group B strep, you have to worry about what you eat. You can't eat blue cheese, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. You have to worry about this, you have to worry about being around cats and litter boxes and tuna fish and all kinds of things. And then there's the stuff going on in your body that you cannot control. And you're kind of like, what is this? What is this? And you're forced. People expect you to have a cheery, happy disposition all the time. When honestly, sometimes you just don't feel good. And it's some days you feel great, but most of the times you feel like a person who's got something going on in their body. And pregnancy, your body can treat a pregnancy like it's a foreign object and will expel it. Like it does when you get when you get the flu and you get this antibody in your body, this thing in your body, this virus in your body. And what does your body do? Acts as a furnace, fevers, everything to get it out. Well, your body can do that with a fetus too, because it's not right. And the thing that most women know is that oftentimes those fetuses that get miscarried more likely than not have the Y chromosome. Why would a female body reject an XY chromosome fetus? Because our body's used to having the double X. The Y chromosome feels like a foreign agent to the body. And so your body can try to expel it. But after you give birth, your body's kind of like, what happened here? Because this was the whole birth thing itself, and pushing out a baby and getting cut open.
It's a traumatic experience. It's a lovely experience to be a mother, but it's also extremely traumatic.
To bring it into the world, yeah. So for them to think that women make these decisions very easy,
lightly,
callously,
I think we just make it lightly.
It's just not the case.
Okay, so then let's also talk about still mass shootings happening in America.
Yeah,
they're not going to
stop it.
We're not going to see a stop of this. We're going to see an increase. And we thought that 2023 was bad, but because people love guns so much, we are definitely going to move into a more horrible phase with this in 2024. I know it. I see it. I'm cringing over it. I thought it's bad enough to see people walking in grocery stores with open carry. But now you just have them just being stupid. Like you even have them now walking around the voting polls with the guns out. So, and the fact that nothing has been done, and I don't see it ever happening. Now, one thing I did see this year was the one, the mayor who came out and had that massive shooting in his state, who was for
Kentucky.
Yeah, he was all for gun ownership. Turned around and said, I was wrong. I need you to help me to fix this. This is absolutely horrible thing. That was a drop in the bucket. How much you want to bet they got him in the corner and probably gave him a good lashing for even coming out about that? You don't even hear anything else from him at all. But that's the point. You don't hear anything after it happens. They go silent. They just immediately do things like Three Toes, who come out with a giveaway AK-47s and things of that nature. I do not see this changing in 2024.
Well, Thursday was the 11th anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting in my state. If 26-year-olds in school being murdered, one of them getting shot 11 times, 6-year-old body 11 times by an AR-15, and we did nothing, and that didn't make people do something,
nothing's gonna be done.
They don't care.
All right. Just to catch up, Dr. Chachi said about the previous conversation, talk about democracy, probably saying the Democrats must rise to the occasion if they're going to run. But on this this on the culture wars, women's lives don't matter to them. So he's saying that women's lives don't matter to most Republican politicians. And in regards to, Michelle says, in regards to the mass shootings, they redefined mass shootings.
Yeah. You know, she is so right about that, because it in a normal world where we had the regular definition, like after Columbine, and they banned the assault rifles in 94 and all expired, the normal definition of a mass shooting, or how we talk about it, would be different. Because we talk about the way we talk about everything else. Teachers need licenses, doctors, realtors, LaLa, you know that, need licenses. You need a license to drive. You need a license to do a forklift. You need a license to get married, okay? To get married.
45 hours of continuing education I just finished.
Right.
To continue to be licensed.
Two things you don't need a license for: to have kids, to have to get a gun. And let me tell you something. If you have a kid, and I've said this before, if you have a kid and you neglect that kid or whatever, you are more likely to go to jail and have your kid taken away than you are to have your gun taken away from showing up at a Starbucks with a gun on your back and someone saying they're scared.
Yes.
What about book banning? I think it's going to raise its head even more in the upcoming year. Thoughts?
Oh,
that's my wheelhouse right there. That's my wheelhouse right there. I have a book coming out, children's book coming out in June. I hope it gets banned, because guess what? Nothing does your sales better than being banned. Apart from that, you can't, it's like, take all the books with all the people who, dress in rainbows, and the people who are Black, who are brown, who are Asian, who are Indian, who are Native American. Take it. Just, if you make the books go away, the people will go. Doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work. As a matter of fact, it actually does help, because people get determined to get them out. Like people like Pink. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. She said when she gets down to Florida and she's doing her tour, she's giving away one of the free banned books to every one of her concert goers. So you're going to have people who are going to push back on that. And let's face it, human nature, if someone tells you that you can't do something, they go out and do it. Look at Prohibition. Come on, let's go all the way back to Prohibition. You can't drink? Oh, what we have speakeasies. So
especially kids.
Right.
Remember, like in the 80s and stuff, your parents would be like, oh, you can't see rated R movies. When you were a kid at that age, in the 80s, you were determined that you were going to go see a wait till your parents went to bed to turn on HBO and watch, like, just because your parents told you
not to. So yes, we are going to see a lot more of that, but I also see more people calling attention to these books, whereas before maybe people weren't even thinking about these books.
Yeah,
but
you
on TikTok, on Instagram, somebody's always featuring a book, or they're talking about the history. I personally, since this has really been a hot topic, and have been posting something on my personal Facebook page every week. I will, probably about 4 times a week, I will go in and say, hey, did you know about the Jingle Bell song? Hey, did you know about the blah, blah, blah? So I'm making a point, and what I'm loving and finding out is people are craving that. Mm-hmm. Every time. If I forget to make it public, people are saying, oh, I need you to make this public. So it's up to us to fight back this battle. It can be won.
Yeah, and that's why next year I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews and talks with artists marginalized groups, traditionally and historically marginalized groups, talking with them and doing book giveaways with them on our Patreon, because these are books that you don't get in your hands. People don't talk about. Right. Again, like LaLa said, a lot of these books, I didn't know there was a book called Anti-Racist Baby. Thank you, Ted Cruz. Because now I do.
Right. Thank you.
And now everyone else does, right?
Right.
Wow.
So I challenge our viewers right now, LaLa's challenge. Why don't you go look at the list of the banned books? And if it's something that you haven't read, please do so. And matter of fact, it's Christmas time. Put it in the stocking of somebody, because it's going to open their minds.
And you know what? My advice as a person who works in PR and communications, let me tell you something. Republicans, if you don't want people to invest and buy something or pay attention to something,
Just be quiet. Just zip it.
you don't mention it. You don't put it, and you definitely don't do it out in public on television when people can see it.
Yes.
Just a little advice. You know, kind of like your
All
love
right.
lives.
So we're obviously gonna hear more about this in 2024, even more, especially with an election year.
Oh yeah, especially with an election year, because remember, it's not just our presidential elections, not just House, Senate, federal, not just state house, all that. It's your school boards. This is where it's starting. The school boards are the ones that are banning these books in libraries, and your city councils are trying to ban these books in public libraries. So don't overlook them
attention.
either.
And don't forget, we even actually talked about how the scholastic book fairs have fallen right into this, where they're taking out material where your kids can't even get it there, which was, you know, my favorite place to go. I mean, I can still smell it as we're talking about it.
That newspaper print of that folding thing. Oh, I used to love it.
So let me ask, just before we get into our next conversation topic, do bookmobiles still exist?
They do. And you know what? I think that's what's going to happen until they find a way to get to the bookmobiles. So for example, I used to work communications at a public charter school and arranged for a bookmobile to come by every 2 weeks so the kids get books, because the schools didn't have a library. But if the parents and the school board complain about the books on the bookmobile, the bookmobiles will either stop coming or they won't carry those books. And how best do you control an electorate? You make sure they're illiterate.
Yes.
And they can't read.
Oh, they're counting.
So they're starting early. They don't want your kids to grow up and vote. Or be smart about any of this stuff, because they'll start to ask questions that they can't answer. So they don't want you to read them. And they're most afraid. Why are they so afraid? Because the majority of them are afraid of these history books that will show their pictures. It was one thing when we saw them and we couldn't recognize, but now it's like, wait, is that my grandma? Grandma.
So easy to
Are you over here carrying up this inward go home sign?
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our next conversation category for 2023. Labor wins the day. Labor wins the day. So, you know, the actor and writer strikes, and the UAW gets President Biden to go on the picket line. Thoughts?
And they got their deal. And you know what? I hope, well, our audience probably doesn't contain a lot of Swifties, but I think Taylor Swift did a great job this year. No discredit to her, and this is no diss to her, but I think Time Magazine got their Person of the Year wrong. I think their Person of the Year should have been labor.
Yes.
Because it wasn't just the writer's strike and the actor's strike. Starbucks had their strike on in November, back when the Red Cup Day, and that's their busiest day of the year. Workers strike. The UAW, of course, but then look smaller. The ALFCIO, I think that's how it is. But all these different labor unions.
It's AFL-CIO.
AFL-CIO. Yes. They have theirs. There is the what you're going to see in 2024 after all these calls for professors to step down. They have unions. I used to belong to one. They have a union, and you'll start to see pushback from them. There's the teachers union. I mean, the teachers union. There are unions. The teachers unions, when they strike. Your kids either end up with substitutes if the teachers step out, or your kids don't go to school. So think about that.
That's right.
Labor is very, very powerful. And I think that they won the year this year because they got concessions. They got their deals.
Car companies
The car companies especially.
Oh, yes.
They had
Yes,
people
and they
working there who
stood
couldn't even
firm.
afford to buy the cars that they were making. Okay. And so they got their concessions. So I think that labor won the year, not just the day, they won the year. And I think that they should be credited for that.
I do
All
too.
right. Michelle says, I agree. The Amazon employees forming union. She also says, I agree with you, Aisha. Let me just get this here. It's okay. Let's see. There we go. I agree with you. Hold on here. There we go. I agree with you, Aisha. The U.S. labor are the real MVPs this year. So how much is labor in your lenses, both your lenses, going to impact next year's elections?
A
lot.
Because the immigrant issue is tied to this.
Yes.
What's going down in Florida? You want your food. Here's the thing. They can't figure out Democrats cannot figure out the messaging. They can't figure out how to message the thing about the food. People are upset that their food costs are so high. You want to know why your food costs are so high? Because there's no labor to do job of the food people, particularly your fruit, your citrus, and from Florida. Ron DeSantis scared them all away. The farmers are talking about, not just in Florida, but other places. The farmers are talking about food rotting on the ground, things not being, so because they have to pay the workers they have more to do more work, that cost gets pushed
for less labor, because for less production.
Less labor. Yes, that cost gets pushed off on the American people. So your eggs and your milk are expensive because the migrants that would have done the other half of the work are being targeted, which means
and not just food, housing. Who do you think is doing the roofing and the construction? And we saw what happened directly. It's not talked about enough, matter of fact, because people want to downplay it. Florida is actually not doing so well. You don't have people picking the fruit. You don't have people putting the roofs on the house. People are leaving because now, and not only that, dumb butt DeSantis decided he was going to put people at the border of up in the border, going to different states to check to see if you really legal or not. Yep. People are feeling threatened and endangered just for living. And typical Americans don't want to do this work.
Nope.
They don't want to do it.
No,
and in
it's
fact,
hard.
People who have the farms were complaining because they was like, they don't know what to do.
Yep.
Their hands hurt. They need a break every 5 minutes. Like they literally said that.
Yeah, the farmers have been hard on DeSantis. They've been like, look, I don't have people to do the job. You keep telling me to produce more, but we can't. And it's like, watch, the economy in Florida is going to collapse. People will see the light in Florida when his term is over. This is his last term because they have term limits, thank God. But this, you can't be upset about the things costing as much as they do when they're made in America. Mostly, you want made in America. You have to understand that you got to get Americans to do the job.
That's right.
If Americans aren't going to do the jobs, you have to bring people in to do them, and that's why we're getting the cost pushed off on us. Meanwhile, when the profits come in, the people at the top are taking the lion's share rather than making goods less expensive.
Okay, so Michelle, you have a comment, but I think you need to resend it because you're saying, I no longer than Democrats are incompetent with messaging. I think it's intentional so Republicans can look like villains. I'm not 100% clear on that. So if you can
I think she's saying she no longer thinks that Democrats are incompetent with messaging, but that it's intentional so Republicans look like the villains. The problem with that, Michelle, though, is that they're losing Democrats. If that is intentional, it's dumb because they're losing Democrats, because then Democrats are saying, well, when you only have one voice, shouting things out at the top of the roof, and you're over here whispering something, people are going to hear the loud voice. And loud and wrong is the people who are wrong are always loud. And the loud and wrong in this country is astonishing. Go on Instagram, go on Twitter, read some comments, because loud and wrong, it's the American way.
The American Merca way.
That's how we do things in America, right?
Okay, let's move on to our last conversation piece. And I think one that really became very prevalent in 2023, technology takeover. Everything from OpenAI to artificial intelligence, Elon Musk taking over Twitter and how he pushes his agenda, but just the whole impact of technology, which is only going to become more and more part of our lives as we go further. Thoughts for what happened in 2023?
LaLa's
You
been
can't
keeping
put
good
things
track
back
on
in
this.
the box. You can't put things back in the box after they put it out. So there's no regulation right now on this AI, and so many people are pretending like they want the regulation and they're going to do it, and they're out here doing it, but still yet they're saying they want regulation. Musk is hollering about he wants it, but what's he do? He opens his own AI so that he can earn money from there, and he gets a pass from the government for everything else that he's doing, from his cars, who got recalled. Just got recalled this week.
2 million.
Like 2 million. And then he was at some European summit where he says how, they need to have more babies. So he bringed it out his little baby to show that he doing what he supposed to do. Like, they give him a pass for everything that he needs to do. We do have a very serious problem. Now, I know some people say that all this technology is can't be good, but I beg to differ in a way. I am concerned about the ethics of it, and I feel like I am a person who is, I never knew I was going down this rabbit hole, guys. This was a surprise to me. This whole subject of AI and the open ChatGPT and all that stuff, I kind of fell into it and got fascinated with it behind it, because I do see it being used for good, but I also can see the very easy way that it can be used for bad, especially now since you can do the videos where it makes it look like I'm talking now. Someone can take my voice off of this show and put it directly on a video that looks like me, because you can go in and say, make it look like LaLa, the realty goddess. And it will find you, and it will make you say words that you're not saying. I am a victim of that, because a year ago, my Facebook was attacked. They took my videos for Bitcoin and made it look like that I was telling people. And I actually had a couple of friends fall for it. Thank God they reached out to me and said, this doesn't really sound like you. Why do you want this information from me? And I'm like, don't do it. So this can be used for bad, but I also see a lot of good causes for it as well. So I'm on the struggle bus, but I'm for it.
All right, I just want to get in with some comments. Dr. Taji says, in order for regulation to work, though, the regulators have to understand AI. Most of those people on the Hill can't even program their phones, let alone AI. Michelle says...
But that gets back to the problem that we have with our politicians and the average age in the House being over 65 and the Senate being 80.
So,
yeah, but
Dr.
then that
Taji
also goes back to the attack on TikTok. They did all this to do and
nothing.
flippity blop, and didn't do anything. Nothing.
Okay.
Just pulled in people in there and started hollering at them and screaming at them.
So Dr. Tachi said there's a whole AI news network that will be debuting next year. If I thought I heard something like that, OpenAI has signed an agreement with somebody, and Dr. Tachi, if you can put in the chat, they signed a collaboration with, can't remember
with news
who
outlets.
it is. Yes,
but there was big news outlet.
Well, yeah, I can't remember who it was, but
isn't that scary though, that it's OpenAI doing it? Because on one hand, because it's not going to be objective enough, I don't think.
I agree with you.
Michelle says, if we've not learned from the fake info posted on Facebook during the 2016 election, is just a glimpse of issues with AI. Michelle also says, government has been after engineers and tech professionals to join politics, but we've pushed back for the most part. Okay.
Well, but let me explain. For those of you who don't know Michelle is a very, very, very versed awesome person that deals with diversity in STEM. She's always been an advocate for that, especially minorities. So she understands this, and she's one of my good friends that we banter all the time about AI. She makes me think outside the box when I just might be my little flighty Pisces self. So I understand her concerns, and she lets me know when I need to check into things, and she allows me to help see where I need to be a little better on this subject. So she is coming from a point of very good experience. Authority.
Okay.
She's a great authority on this.
Okay. So I'm just taking a look about this news network really quick. I'm trying to find, because I heard it this weekend and went, oh,
Yeah,
that
freaked
was
me out.
okay. So okay, so here it is. OpenAI strikes deal with publisher Alex Spiegler to use its news content on ChatGPT. So it says OpenAI will pay publishing giant Axel Springer to use its news content in the company's artificial intelligence products, making, quote, a first of a kind, unquote, global publishing deal will allow ChatGPT creator to train its AI models on the news organization reporting. Okay.
But that's where I agree with Aisha, because Aisha, how can this be objective? It can't. It's stating whatever someone is feeding it.
Okay. Let me go here.
It needs to not be in collaboration, I think, with OpenAI. Period.
Okay, so
it should be in collaboration with a tech company that has no skin in the AI game.
So I'm just reading from this CNN business story. The ChatGPT makers agreement with Axel Springer comes one day after the New York Times announced the creation of a new newsroom leader position focused on artificial intelligence initiatives, signaling the key role of the rapidly advancing technology will play in news production. Earlier this year, OpenAI also announced an agreement with the Associated Press to license the News Collective's reporting archive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this was just recently. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just catch up. Michelle says the government has been now. Okay, we already did that. Michelle says you ask questions that more people need to ask about tech and AI. The news network is called Channel One. Katrina Ray Porter says, I don't like that. And yes, Katrina. It is different. That's different from the AI news network. Yeah, I was just reading and see if I could come up with anything, but I think it's going to be very interesting in a year's time. We're all here. I'm speaking all here, where AI in regards to, well, especially the impact it's going to have on the next upcoming election.
Yeah, right? and here's the problem with AI too, is that expect, like Dr. Tachi said earlier about us not learning. I think it was Dr. Tachi that said about us not learning from the 2016 elections with Facebook and the deep fakes and the info. Expect to see 10 times more of it with AI now, especially when you can record other people's voices and stuff. So you're going to see a lot of that. And if this news network is responsible, they'll cover that.
So I'm just reading a published story, December 14th. USA Today, the world's first news network entirely generated by artificial intelligence, is set to launch next year. Channel One released a promotional video explaining how the service will provide personalized news coverage to users from international affairs, finance, and entertainment. The outlet said how their team of AI-generated reporters can offer a global global perspective 24/7. The reporters in the video appear to be human, but are actually made from the scan of a real person with digitally generated voices and zero human emotion. The reporters can tell the news in any language. And
that's scary. That's scary. That's scary for people who do this as a living, because what they're trying to do, they're going. It's like what I see. All these publishers, these vanity publishers. Oh, you know what? You want to write a book? We have ghostwriters and editors and publishers. It's like, so basically what you're doing is you're taking the craft of writing away from people. What they're doing with some of these AIs is they're taking the craft away of delivering the news. Your news people have to be trustworthy, and someone that shows, or something that shows no emotion or compassion or isn't able to tell a story with that in their voice is going to be a problem for people.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to have her on in the new year. Dr. Chachi says, I actually think the AI News Network is a brilliant idea as long as they can cite their sources. So I'm just going to read a little bit more of this story, which is and I will post the link for this in the Discord group. But founder and entrepreneur Adam Mosan said the news aired on the network will come from legacy outlets and commissioned freelance reporters. Additionally, the AI will generate its own reporting from public records and government documents. Creators Mosan and film producer Scott Zabelski said they aim to launch Channel One AI for free with ad-supported streaming on apps this spring. The founders are also planning a Channel One app with its own translation feature by summer. So there we go.
But you know,
That's fast.
The thing that worries me, particularly with what Dr. Tachi is saying about them citing their sources. It's fine if they cite their sources. Regular media has to cite their sources, whether the sources are true or not. But the problem that I see with that is that these media conglomerates get into this position where they report only certain types of news. So if you look at even your local news stations are owned by conglomerates. And so what you see, even though you see local stories, the national stories that you see on your local news are in wherever you are. You might be in Texas, is the same thing I'm seeing here in Connecticut, because it's like with radio owned by the conglomerates. They're playing the same things on a loop, except they have to put in different things. And if I've worked at a news station before, if you worked at a news station, you know that you have certain segments because certain people buy certain time, and you have to, even in a radio show that's owned by a conglomerate, they have to interject some local stuff. But for the most part, if they're going to be because they're going to be chasing ad dollars too, that's going to determine the kind of news and things that they put out, which is going to be scary.
Okay, so final comment here. Dr. Chachi says, Aisha, I agree. I think, though, there are things that an AI news reporter won't be able to do, like appear at events, which is something that news reporters frequently do. We still need the human.
Agreed. Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's a quick summary of the year, and there's still so much more that you'll be able to catch on the Patreon side. So yes. That is a wrap, but we still have some more.
We got a lot in there. That's a lot.
That's not that much, because there's still, look at the stuff we left off the table, right?
I know.
Yeah, but we've got 2024, right?
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
So teaser, make sure that you join our Patreon page, and you know we do our team.
Now we have something to do before we sign off. So we're going to do another quick little thing. So I'm going to pull the ladies off for just a second. So we're going to pull them off. And then what we're going to do is we got a little bit of a thank you video. So let's do it now.
As we enter into the holiday season, I would like to take this time to address something near and dear to my heart. As an international real estate agent since 2006, I've dedicated my career. As we enter into the holiday season, I would like to take this time to address something near and dear to my heart. As an international real estate agent since 2000, as we enter into the holiday.
Stop that. Let's do this.
As we enter into the holiday season, I would like to take this time to address.
I thought I had it and I didn't have it. So I'll bring the ladies back for a few moments because there's something I've got to find. So
technical difficulties.
Well, it's the wrong.
It's live show, right?
So
right.
No, it's the wrong video, and I hope I can find it. So let me look right quick to see if I can find it because I thought I had it, but.
Well, while you're looking, Aisha did say a message, but I want everyone to know, because you're not all on YouTube, although you can look at us at many different places, but we may not be airing our next shows for the rest of the year. This is our last show for the year, but we are always very, very active in our Discord group. So if you're interested in joining our Discord group, all you have to do is email Dr. Vibe, and you can get in on the conversations as well, and also get a sneak peek of Aisha and I's 10 and 10. So please make sure that you follow us because this is the last show of 2023.
But the shenanigans will continue.
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna take me too long to pull up what I need to because I don't want to keep people on for long. But what we'll do is actually we'll post it. I'll actually put a post of it on Instagram and also on the YouTube page. So, and also if you remember the Discord group, we'll post it there too.
Can you add it to the replay too?
I can see if that can happen. I'll check with our editor on that. I will check to see. I'll give him a little bit more work to do. So a few things. Christy White says, great show. Thank you. Also, Dr. Tachi, ovation. Next up, Michelle goes, let's go. All right. And look at this. Michelle's asking, LaLa can sing a little ditty for us. That's what I was wanting to pull up, and it's going to take too long. That's the difficulty. I should have done that. But any last words everyone has for this year?
Yeah. Guys, thank you. Thank you. We wouldn't have a show without you. We would just be talking to one another, but it's your support that we appreciate and that allows us to continue to bring topics to you that are important to you and to also hear them in a different perspective than what they're normally being spoon-fed to you. So I want to say thank you. I'm just tickled to death to be a part of this team, and I'm proud of this team. So we all, I think I speak for us all when I say that we appreciate your time every week, your support of even watching the replays and sharing out. And we hope that you continue this journey with us in 2024.
Yeah. 2023 was a difficult year for a lot of us and for a lot of you. And you stuck by us. You stuck with us through difficulties, through changes, through everything. And you're still here. And I want you to remember that no matter what's going on in your life, as this year ends, you're still here. And so make the most of the fact that you are still here. And you know what? January is a new month. 2024 is a new year. Keep working, keep striving, and make the best of it.
Yeah.
All right. So a few things. You can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and also the drvibeshow.com. There's a website. Now you can also watch replays on Instagram so, as of today. So that's another thing. So we end off the year in quite the bang. And what I'll do is this. We'll do this. Let me go here. It's getting more and more fun producing this show. So first things first, if like today was a whole other thing, but we'll have it down pat in the new year for sure. So first things first, LaLa, how can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on all social media platforms under Living the LaLa Life. Now, in some cases like Instagram, it only lets me put in Living the LaLa. But if you put that in, you're definitely going to find me, and I look forward to seeing you there.
All right. And then we have Aisha K. Staggers.
Yes, I am on Instagram, but the best place to find me is definitely on our Discord channel. So email Dr. Vibe to join the Discord. And if you have a book that you want me to have a look at for our upcoming book series for a giveaway, you can email me directly at akstaggers@gmail.com.
I will add that going forward into the final stuff. So there we go. Let's bring everybody back. I'd like to say a huge thank to these two ladies for hanging in there. I'll go into this subject lightly. There was a time this year that I did not know if this platform would continue. And I sent a message via Discord to both of them saying, I only want to make sure that I want to be part of things that are positive and don't harm them personally, professionally, or harm our audience in any way. So they said, yes, we still want to continue. So we are still here. And it's interesting, things have taken an upswing to things I never imagined in a very short period of time. So I want to thank every person watching live on the replay. I want to thank Dr. Boyce, want to thank Dr. Alicia, but most want to thank Aisha and LaLa. So Dr. Alicia and Aisha. Let me get that clear. We got an Alicia and an Aisha. Also want to thank Dr. Lee. I want to also thank Dr. Alicia for coming on periodically, and also want to thank Dr. Tachi also, because it was very interesting. The moment that both of them came on was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Bam. So they always have a place here whenever they want to come on, and they know that. So I consider them part of the family also. So I think there is another comment here, and then we will call it a conversation. And all right. So DJ White, who's over in England, says, hello, keep the faith and keep up the great, well, I believe I know who that is, Aaron White. And Cinema Canal says, be blessed, safe, and keep up the good work in 2024. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. So that is fantastic. Jen says, great conversation. And thanks to all y'all. So the next 2 Saturdays, there will be repeats. So please be aware of that. And I'll make sure that they're broadcast on the usual platforms and also on the Instagram channel. So this is a great way of ending off 2023. Brand new platform, and also new reach in regards to the Instagram, new reach in regards to Fly Nubian Queen. And starting by January, Indie Soup Media have replays of this platform. So the reach of this show in the month will increase by 1.5 million people. Reach wise. So what I'm going to do is, I usually say it by myself, but I'm going to have both ladies on the stream on the screen. So as always, I like to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. If you celebrate it, because not everyone does, celebrate the holiday season. And also, let's not think that this is a positive time of the year for everybody. There are people that don't celebrate for numerous reasons this time of the year. Accept them where they are. And I put the challenge out to everybody that when you come back in next year, I like to know if you have any words for 2024 for yourselves. A lot of times people make resolutions and they're done within 20 days. What are some words that you want to use every year? And every year, one of my words for each year is clarity. So clarity, I want next year, and I want opportunity, and through me, not in me. Those are some of the things I live for 2024. So on that note, God bless, peace be well, keep the faith. As always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. Join the Discord group, hit the store, hit the Discord. We'll be watching you. As Sting said, every breath you take, we're watching you. Take care, everybody. Have a great holiday season.